May it please the court, the state appears by Jill Gillette, County Attorney.
Your Honor, the defendant appears by Zoom from the Elk County Jail, and I'm Gary House, his attorney.
All right, we are here for hearing on a warrant to show cause announcements. Mr. House.
Your Honor, we do not have a resolution of the case. I think the county attorney and I can, and possibly Mr. Bauer can make our recommendations to you, and then leave the decision to you. We would stipulate that the costs haven't been paid off, and that defendant has tested positive in some of these drug tests over the years, and but I think we each have recommendations on how it ought to be disposed, and they're not exactly the same. So,
okay, there's also allegations that he hasn't reported as directed and hasn't obtained employment and has admitted to marijuana and methamphetamine use. Is he stipulating to all of those?
as to the employment situation, he has had a job for the last month with an investment company that remodels homes, and they in fact have assisted him today in coming up with a sum of money which he can pay on costs, $400 to be precise, and indicated they could loan him the balance of whatever costs there are to try to get this case resolved.
What about not reporting as directed? Is he stipulating to that?
Yes. I've talked with Mr. Bauer about that, and that we'd have to stipulate to that. Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Solomon, is it your decision here today to waive your right to a hearing? At that hearing, the state would be required to put on evidence to show that you violated the terms and conditions as your probation as alleged by a preponderance of the evidence?
Yes.
You understand at that hearing you would have the right to put on evidence of your own and have your attorney cross-examine the state's witnesses?
Yes.
You understand that when you stipulate or admit to the violations, the court will find that you violated the terms and conditions of your probation?
Yes, sir.
And you understand upon making that finding, there would be several options available, such as extending your probation, ordering you serve a jail sanction, or in some cases, outright revoking your probation and having you serve the balance of your time?
Yes, sir.
All right. Has anybody made any threats or promises to get you to waive your right to a hearing and enter these stipulations?
No, sir.
All right. I will find that you've made a knowing and voluntary waiver of hearing and admitted to the violations as alleged. Miss Gillette, what is your recommendations for the disposition?
Judge, the defendant was sentenced to 12 months underlying suspended for probation. His sentencing was, I was trying to find the exact sentencing date. His sentencing was almost 3 years, well, almost 3 years ago. And essentially, we've had to have multiple extensions and revocations because he disappeared last time for 8 months. This time we're sitting here and he's disappeared again, stopped reporting, had positives and admissions for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times before he took off again. He's paid maybe $40 in 3 years. He was recommended to get a drug and alcohol evaluation and get treatment. He doesn't. I remember making the same argument at his last revocation hearing that he doesn't want to change. He doesn't want to quit using drugs. He doesn't want to do his treatment. He doesn't want to comply with any of the court orders at all. And he disappears every time. Basically, I have to ask for him to serve part of it or all of his underlying. When you make a plea and you agree to that kind of term to hang over your head. Now, I am willing to recommend the court shorten his sentence a little bit. But otherwise, he's essentially spent 3 years making Mr. Bauer have to chase him around. And that's, Mr. Bauer isn't supposed to have to chase him. He is supposed to report to Mr. Bauer. And, you know, he does not demonstrate he can follow the court orders. He's not amenable to probation. Frankly, I think he needs to serve his sentence and have the rest of his costs sent to collections. I know that it's important for the victims to get paid. So if the restitution part was paid, I would agree to have him serve 6 months instead of 12, because then the victims are made whole. But otherwise, he agreed to serve 12 months in the Elk County jail. And he's forfeited the ability to be out in the public because he can't stop breaking the law and he's not amenable to probation.
Ms. Gillette, due to the computer situation, I'm not able to access my docket notes. How many revocations has Mr. Solomon had?
I don't remember this is his second or his third. Let me look, Judge.
Your Honor.
Oh, go ahead, Mr. Bauer.
We did an extension at the end of his first year. He signed an extension and then there was a revocation filed the following year. So this is his second revocation.
Plus
And do you recall what the result was of the first revocation hearing?
I have the journal entry, Judge. He had a sanction for the time that he had been in custody. He admitted to not making any payments. He had 72 days of time served at that time, and you ordered an extension of his probation and to try to give him more time to try to make more payments. And he had an extension before that one. So essentially, he did a voluntary extension because he hadn't been doing what he needed to do. Then we had the revocation, gave him a 72-day sanction.
Okay. Does he
With
have
my-
other jail credit besides the 72 days?
He was in for a while when he first was arrested. Then he has the 72 days from November of 22 and going back. And so I don't know what his exact first few days were, but he essentially has what I look like is just shy of 3 months.
Is he in jail now?
Yes. Isn't he?
Oh,
Oh, no.
Yeah, he was arrested on the warrant, bonded out. He is not in custody at this time.
All right, thank you. Mr. House, what are your recommendations?
Your Honor, I realize this case is almost 3 years old. My client has had one prior probation revocation hearing and was given a second chance. This would be his second. He has obtained employment recently. He has been employed for 1 month with an investment firm that remodels houses. He's paid $12.50 an hour, and he gets at least 40 hours a week in. That's a new job. As to what he owes, as indicated by Mr. Bauer, I think he's only paid about $40. He comes today with help from his employer with $400 that he can pay today. And he can get a loan from them to pay the balance of costs. That includes a $500 restitution figure. And this $400, if directed to go towards restitution, would pay 80% of that.
How come he didn't
recommend
tender
that-
that payment before court started?
He had it prepared to pay, but the sheriff's office said to wait until after the hearing, my understanding. He's got it in hand, ready to pay it. Is that right, Mr. Solomon?
Yes, sir.
What we would recommend under all the circumstances is, first of all, there's an attorney fee of $450. He's had difficulty, obviously, in getting anything paid, and restitution's very important. We want that to be paid. If the court would consider reducing the amount of his liability for the attorney fees or waive them, that and then he pay the balance, pay $400 today and pay the balance within 10 days from his employer, and then serve a 10-day sanction in 5 weekends because he wants to keep his job, and then terminate the case. That'd get it off Mr. Bauer's workload after 3 years, and it would allow Mr. Solomon to keep a job that he's finally got, and get this behind him. I realize he's violated terms of probation in many ways. He served about 3 months on a 12-month sentence. States indicated they would consider modifying that down. But that's the recommendations we're making today. Give the man who now has a job just an opportunity to pay this off within 10 days and do a 10-day sanction, broken up into 5 weekends so that he can keep his job.
Thank you, Mr. House. I see that Nick Newton is present on the meeting. Mr. Newton, you were doing a cursory or a supervision of Mr. Solomon through Montgomery County, is that correct?
Yes.
Anything that you would add here today?
I do not have anything to add to this, no.
Okay, is he still on probation in Montgomery County?
I closed a interest and sent it back to Tony Bauer.
All right, thank you, Mr. Newton. Mr. Bauer, anything you would like to add here today?
Nothing really outside of what's already been said. I have spoken to Mr. Solomon. He did explain his employer was willing to give him a loan. However, they had concerns if he went to jail, he wouldn't be able to work to pay that back off. I did tell him that I would be willing to do something other than an outright revocation to serve the full 12 months as part of my recommendations to the court. Ultimately, it was up to you. If payments were made on that, if he could pay that $400 today. I know I was on the phone with him when he asked about going to pay it, and they told him to wait till after court to go over and make that $400 payment. Because I told him it would be better to have it paid prior to court than to pay after court, because the court gets told all the time, I will make a payment today, and that never happens. So he did attempt to do that, and he was told to wait till after court. I know that. I heard that conversation over the phone.
All right, thank you, Mr. Bauer. Mr. Solomon, anything you would like to say?
No, not really. I mean, like, yeah, I messed up without paying and everything like that, but I mean, I don't know. It's hard to do everything by myself when I got kids to take care of and stuff like that. But I mean, I can have the payments paid. I can have it paid up within the 10 days after I pay the $400 today. And I mean, I don't mind doing the weekend sanctions if that's possible.
All right, thank you, Mr. Solomon. The records I have show that you were sentenced back on October 19th of 2020. So you've had 3 years, over 3 years to get this paid and comply with your probation. You should have been done with this case 2 years ago.
Yes, sir.
The terms and conditions weren't very burdensome. All you had to do was report stay clean and pay on fines and restitution. And you haven't been able to do that for 3 years.
All I'm asking is a chance, Your Honor, please, one more chance. I'm a
You've had a chance when you got probation to begin with. You got a second chance on your first revocation hearing, and that didn't get your attention. So now you're here again. And
I can
what
guarantee,
assurances does the court have that you would follow through this time?
it's a guarantee I have that money paid within 10 days. It's a guarantee. I just need,
Mr. Solomon, this is not just about money.
Ms.
This is
Gillette,
also-
I'm addressing Mr. Solomon. You've had your opportunity to make your recommendations. All right, Mr. Solomon, your probation has been a failure. I'm not going to give you that third chance. I'm going to order that your probation be revoked and you serve the balance of your sentence. I will make one agreement to where if you pay off $500, which would be the restitution to make the victim of your case paid in full, I'll modify your sentence to 8 months. But that $500 payment has to be made in order to get that modification. I'll
Okay.
grant you any time served you have toward your sentence.
Your Honor,
I'll waive any attorney's fees associated with this hearing.
Your Honor, how would I pay the $500 if I'm in jail?
Well, apparently you brought 400 with you. Then you'd have to come up with another $100 and I'd modify it down to 8 months.
From jail? All right, can I have like a couple day, a week or so to get the money up, the rest of the money up? Please.
No,
I'm not even 24 hours.
Mr. Solomon, you don't have a good track record with this court.
I report it every day. Every time I report
You've had 3 years to get employed and get this paid off. I've made my order. You've got 30 days to tender the 500 if you want the modification to 8 months.
So, okay, I got 30 days while I'm in jail. How can I do anything from jail, sir?
Well, lots of people are able to obtain money from family members, friends, employers while they're incarcerated.
I don't have any family up here, sir. I'm up here by myself. I don't have any.
My orders have been made. Anything further, Ms. Gillette
Not from the state, Your Honor.
and Mr. House?
Yeah, then I understand that the 12-month sentence stands unless he pays $500 within 30 days,
That's
which
correct.
would do away with restitution. But you are, as to attorney fees, you're waiving the attorney fees today. What about the initial attorney fees?
I'm not waiving any additional fees other than the attorney's fees for today's hearing. Anything previously ordered has already been ordered and is not being waived.
Excuse me, Your Honor. I'm gonna lose my house and everything, sir. Please.
Mr. Solomon, you should have thought about that when you
So
got put on probation. My
Okay.
orders have been made.
How much do I have served on this
If
case
there's
already?
nothing further, we'll be in recess.
I have served on the case already.
Mr. Solomon, you are excused.
How much time do I have served on this case so I can know how much time I have to do?
The jail will be able to give you how much time you've got accumulated.
All right, thank you, sir.
All right, we're in recess.
When you take a plea deal, you're making a commitment to follow through with all of those things that you promised the court that you're going to do. And when you don't do that, and the court gives you chance after chance after chance, there's going to be consequences. It's a lot like life. You can only get away with bad behavior for so long before that little thing called karma catches up with you.